President Trump strongly believes that we cannot outsource our security because, Kristen, let me tell you what will happen, and it might not be next year, might not be in 5 years, but down the road, this fight for the Arctic is real. We would keep our NATO our NATO guarantees, and if there were an attack on Greenland from Russia, from some other area, we would get dragged in. So better now, peace through strength, make it part of the United States, and there will not be a conflict because the United States right now, we are the hottest country in the world. We are the strongest country in the world. The Europeans project weakness. The U.S. projects strength.
This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, January the 18th, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with Trump's Truth Social post, which has sent the European elite into meltdown mode. They are freaking out over Trump's post on Truth Social. It is a long post focused on Greenland and threatening the Europeans that if they do not hand over Greenland to the United States, then they will be looking at tariffs. And it begins with 10% tariffs on February the 1st to a select group of European countries. And if there's no deal on Greenland by June, then the 10% tariffs go up to 25% tariffs. Breaking, President Trump announces a 10% tariff on Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, Netherlands, and Finland beginning February 1st. The tariff will be increased to 25% beginning on June 1st. Tariffs will remain in effect until the US reaches a deal to buy Greenland. So in a video that I recorded from Limassol a couple of days ago, I talked about the Europeans sending 20 soldiers, 20 troops to Greenland. And I said that the Europeans are in a way they're mocking the United States in a way, or mocking Trump in a way by sending 15 or 20 troops to Greenland, and they were playing it cute with the U.S. with this move, and I noted that the Trump administration, they're going to look at this move by Europe of sending 15 or 20 soldiers to Greenland. They were going to look at it in a very, very negative way. Because if there's one thing that I've learned from living many, many years in the United States is that you do not play it cute with the Americans. You don't play cute. Play it straightforward. Don't be cute with the U.S., especially with New Yorkers. And the Europeans, they thought they were being clever. We'll send 10 soldiers from France. We'll send 13 soldiers from Germany, and 3 soldiers from Denmark, and 1 soldier from Finland, and 2 from the Netherlands, or whatever. And we're going to send them to Greenland, right? That's our move to send a message to the United States. And I said in that video, Trump is not going to like that. Better to not send any soldiers to Greenland. Don't send any soldiers there. If you're going to send a message, a military message to the United States, and you want to send troops to Greenland to tell the U.S. we're serious about Greenland, we will defend it, send troops. Send 5,000, 10,000, 20, 30,000. Not that Europe would be able to do such a thing, not that they have the troops to do such a thing. But my point was, either you're going to be serious about Greenland, or you don't go down the military route, the sending of soldiers route. Because if you do it half-ass, the United States is not going to like it. They're not going to like to be mocked. And that is what Europe kind of did. Who decided this? Who took the decision to say, you know what, let's send five French soldiers and 3 soldiers from Denmark and 10 from Germany? Who made that decision? I knew that Trump was not going to like that. I knew that the United States was not going to like that. We recorded a video with Alexander, and Alexander said the same thing. That video will be going up today. Alexander also made the point that the United States is going to look at the 20 troops in Greenland, and Trump is going to look at those 20 troops, and he's going to say, "Oh, okay, you're mocking me. All right, well, let's play that game." And sure enough, I'm going to read you Trump's post on Truth Social, and it's a long post. Sure enough, Trump was very, very upset with that move, and so now he's going the tariff route. So let me read you what Trump said on Truth Social. "We have subsidized Denmark and all of the countries of the European Union and others for many years by not charging them tariffs or any other forms of remuneration. Now, after centuries, it is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake. China and Russia want Greenland, and there is not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection, one added recently. Only the United States of America under President Donald J. Trump can play in this game very successfully at that. Nobody will touch this sacred piece of land, especially since the national security of the United States and the world at large is at stake. On top of everything else, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland have journeyed to Greenland for purposes unknown. This is a very dangerous situation for the safety, security, and survival of our planet. These countries who are playing this very dangerous game have put a level of risk in play that is not tenable or sustainable. Therefore, it is imperative that, in order to protect global peace and security, strong measures be taken so that this potentially perilous situation ends quickly and without question. Starting on February 1st, 2026, all of the above-mentioned countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland will be charged 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June 1st, 2026, the tariff will be increased to 25%. This tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. The United States has been trying to do this transaction for over 150 years. Many presidents have tried, and for good reason, but Denmark has always refused. Now, because of the Golden Dome and modern-day weapons systems, both offensive and defensive, the need to acquire is especially important. Hundreds of billions of dollars are currently being spent on security programs having to do with the dome, including for the possible protection of Canada. And this is very brilliant, but highly complex system can only work at its maximum potential and efficiency because of angles, meets, and bounds. If this land is included in it, the United States of America is immediately open to negotiation with Denmark and or any of these countries that have put so much at risk despite all that we have done for them, including maximum protection for so many decades. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Wow. All right. That's a long one. That's why I'm sitting down for this video. We're going to do a lot of reading today. So, yeah, those soldiers to Greenland, that really, really upset Trump. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but I like Alex's videos. That's why I always smash that like. Yeah, that was a bad move. That was a really, 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 really bad move to send 20 soldiers to Greenland. By the way, I read somewhere, Bild actually posted that after this post from Trump, after this Truth Social post, Germany is bringing those German soldiers in Greenland. They're bringing them back home. Yeah, those soldiers are going back to Germany. So Trump is saying, look, we're ready to negotiate with Denmark or the other bonehead leaders who decided to send a handful of soldiers to Greenland. You want to play that game? Okay, we'll negotiate with you guys. But he is saying he's taking Greenland. That's the point of this message. I'm taking Greenland. He said it the hard way or the easy way, didn't he? Didn't he say that a couple of days ago? We can do it the hard way or we can do it the easy way. But he's taking it. Do you want to negotiate it or are we going to do it the hard way? He'll purchase it. Not for much, but my guess is that he'll give something, a face-saving amount of money for Denmark. $1 billion or $5 billion or whatever, 10 billion. Probably no more than 10 billion, that would be my guess. So that Denmark can then go back to its citizens. Frederickson can go back to the people of Denmark and say, I sold it for 10 billion or whatever, right? I mean, he's taken it. He's taken Greenland. He's determined to take Greenland. He did not like the move of sending soldiers to Greenland. The half-ass move of sending a handful of soldiers to Greenland. It was a dumb idea. And now he's talking tariffs. And this is freaking out the Europeans. You see, I believe the Europeans, up until yesterday, still did not believe that Trump was serious about Greenland. And I say that because I'll read you their posts on X. Because their posts on X, after this post on Truth from Trump, their posts on X to me indicate that all of a sudden it's like crap. I mean, smack right in the face. Crap, the United States, Trump is serious about Greenland. I think everything up until Trump's post on Truth Social with the tariffs, everything up until then, the Europeans were still under the delusion that Trump would never dare. So let's send 5 soldiers here and 20 soldiers there, and then let's just play this little game. Ha ha, hee hee. You know, Trump is playing, we're playing, so let's just do that. Let's be cute with it, right? and now they're in a panic because I think it's finally hit them that Trump is serious about taking Greenland. Finally. It's finally hit them that Trump is serious about taking Greenland. So I'm going to read you what they posted on X, because they don't have a plan, right? They don't have a plan. You know, Macron was making these ambiguous statements. You know, I'm warning the United States. That's what he would say. I'm warning the United States. Don't take Greenland. And by the way, you know, my eye is all messed up. Ha ha. Right? I mean, okay, what was your warning, Macron? He didn't know. He just threw it out there because he's playing games. It's theater. It's theatrics. That's what he thought. He thought this is all theater, because all of the European elite, they believe that everyone is signed up to their transatlantic ideology, their NATO religion. It never crossed their minds that Trump is not a believer. He believes in a different thing, right? He's not a believer in the NATO transatlantic ideology. He's not there. Might makes right. That's basically Trump's message. Where we need Greenland, we're going to take it. I need to expand the United States. I'm going to expand the United States. And the whole Russia-China thing is because Denmark put in an intelligence report that they created in 2025. They're the ones that said that China and Russia have their eyes on Greenland. Now they're saying, no, China and Russia, they don't have any plans for Greenland. But in 2025, because it was all about Russophobia, right? The more we talk about Russia bad and something fell on my head. Russia bad and China bad. This is how we'll get more support from the United States. They'll like us more if we talk about how evil and how bad Russia and China are. So let's put in an intelligence report that Russia and China are going to take Greenland. Yeah, the Americans are going to like that. They're going to really like that. I like it. Right? Well, you know, Trump dug up that report. I talked about this in a video the other day. He dug up that report and he said, wait a minute, Denmark, what are you saying? That Russia and China are not that interested in Greenland anymore. Here's your intelligence report, which says that Russia and China are interested in Greenland. So you need the United States to come along and take Greenland, to protect Greenland. And Trump, being a clever marketer, he knows how to put things in a very simple way. He frames it with the whole two dog sled thing because it's visual. People can picture it. He's mocking the fact that, pointing out, highlighting and mocking the fact that Denmark is not going to be able to protect Greenland from Russia, but he puts it in a visual frame. One dog sled and now another dog sled. So people in the US are thinking, who are really not all that invested in geopolitics or Greenland or whatever. They're just kind of reading titles from CNN or from the New York Times or from whatever, watching Fox News, and they hear this statement from Trump that Greenland has one dog sled and they're going to add another, and it's visual, right? And then they put up that meme of the two dog sleds, one dog sled towards the White House, the other one towards the thunder and lightning of Russia and China. So, I mean, you know, the Europeans, I think finally, they're way late, but better late than never, I guess. I guess never for them in the instance of Greenland, but they finally have realized that Trump is serious. He's really going to do this, and so they called an emergency meeting with all 27 countries over Trump's Greenland tariff threat to the EU. So the EU is calling emergency meetings. Stunning and brave Kaja Kallas, she posted on X, China and Russia must be having a field day. They are the ones who benefit from divisions among allies. If Greenland's security is at risk, we can address this inside NATO. Tariffs risk making Europe and the United States poorer and undermine our shared prosperity. We also cannot let our dispute distract us from our core task of helping to end Russia's war against Ukraine. Right, it's Russia and China's fault. Don't press on U.S. President Trump with Greenland, please, because you're only making China and Russia happy. That's her argument. Please don't take Greenland. If you take Greenland, then you're just making Putin smile. This is the top diplomat of the EU. You should have been preparing for this the minute Trump, many months ago. When did Trump first say that he's interested in Greenland? 6 months ago? 9 months ago? Let me know in the comments down below. But the minute Trump said something about Greenland, if I was the top diplomat at the European Union, I would have been like, oh crap. We better get on this. We better get some meetings with Rubio. We better get some meetings with the US, with Trump, and we better get on this ASAP. The minute he said something about Greenland, but no, Kallas, Ukraine, sanctions package 18, sanctions package 19, sanctions package 20, sanctions Iran, sanctions China, sanctions, Russia, China, Russia, China, Russia, Russia, China, Iran, Russia, China. And then a couple of days ago, Kallas said, it's time to drink. Right? That's her answer. It's time to drink. Oh, well, might as well get drunk. And she's still stuck on China and Russia. She's still stuck on China and Russia. Shouldn't you be on a plane to the United States? On a plane to the United States to figure this out? Shouldn't you be waiting outside of Marco Rubio's door at the State Department, begging for a meeting? Yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing. And forget about Russia, China, and Ukraine. Forget about it for just for a couple of weeks. Just stop talking about Ukraine, Russia, China. Just for 2 weeks, Callis, for 2 weeks. Get this sorted out. Nope. Can't do it. She can't do it. So Ursula posted on X, territorial integrity and sovereignty are fundamental principles of international law. They are essential for Europe and for the international community as a whole. We have consistently underlined our shared transatlantic interest in peace and security in the Arctic, including through NATO. The pre-coordinated Danish exercise conducted with allies responds to the need to strengthen Arctic security and poses no threat to anyone. The EU stands in full solidarity with Denmark and the people of Greenland. Dialogue remains essential, and we are committed to building on the process begun already last week between the Kingdom of Denmark and the US. Tariffs would undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. Europe will remain united, coordinated, and committed to upholding its sovereignty. You're going to see in the posts that I'm going to read you from the European elite, you'll see that they all got the same script about tariffs. They all pretty much say the same thing in their X posts, and it's always at the end of the post. They say tariffs would undermine the transatlantic relationship, and would undermine the partnership that we have. So they all pretty much are parroting the same thing. They all got the same script when it comes to the tariff threat, and they write as much in their X posts. But Ursula, talking about international law, didn't you read Trump's New York Times interview when he was asked about international law, and Trump said the only international law is my morality? Me? I'm international law, he said. I'm international law. There is no international law, he said. There is none. It's my morality. Didn't you read that interview, Ursula? And so another common theme for the European elite is they believe that their line of attack with Trump, or the way they're trying to deal with Trump's tariff threat, they're saying that this should be discussed within NATO. We can solve this within NATO. Yeah, but the United States, Trump is not interested in solving it within NATO. Are you not listening to his argument? His argument is that the United States is NATO. He said it in his Truth Social post. We're the ones that are paying for you guys. We're the ones that are paying for you guys through NATO. He doesn't want to solve this through NATO. He actually told Mark Rutte to talk to Denmark and to tell Denmark to give up Greenland. So that's Ursula's post. And by the way, Ursula, when she negotiated with Trump on the trade deal, that was a disaster. The trade deal in Scotland, right? The worst trade deal probably in all of history, where Ursula didn't even negotiate. Basically, whatever Trump asked for. This is the whole Liberation Day stuff. Remember the first wave of Liberation Day tariffs and trade deals, and they went to Scotland and he sat down with Ursula, and Ursula gave him 700 million here, 700 billion in investments, 600 billion in purchasing energy. She just gave him everything. And that was her negotiation with Trump. You think she's going to be able to do any better with Greenland? Impossible. Keir Starmer posted, our position on Greenland is very clear. It is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and the future is a matter for the Greenlanders and the Danes. We have also made clear the Arctic security matters for the whole of NATO, and allies should all do more together to address the threat from Russia across different parts of the Arctic. Applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong. We will, of course, be pursuing this directly with the U.S. administration. And Alexander Stubb posted, among allies, issues are best resolved through discussion, not through pressure. Strengthening Arctic security together with allies is very important for Finland. This is also the purpose of the Danish-led and allied coordinated action in Greenland. European countries stand united. We emphasize the principles of territorial integrity, and sovereignty. We support Denmark and Greenland. Dialogue with the United States continues. Tariffs would undermine the transatlantic relationship and risk a dangerous downward spiral. It's very embarrassing for Trump to threaten tariffs against the Europeans. Huh? Very embarrassing for them. Yeah, they go around the world talking up how they have the United States behind them. The United States has got our back. So they go around the world, the European elite, and they threaten countries. And they play it tough because they have the U.S. in back of them. Even with Russia, they play it tough with Russia, right? The Baltic countries. They say all kinds of nasty stuff about Russia because they say, you know what, the U.S. has got our back. And now they're realizing, where is the U.S.? The U.S. doesn't really have our back, and this is scaring the crap out of them. Macron, he is warning Trump again. Europeans will respond in a united and coordinated manner. Macron adds, no threat can influence us, neither in Greenland nor in Ukraine. And Bloomberg is reporting that the EU is set to halt trade with the U.S. Right, you're going to halt trade with the U.S. And who are you going to trade with if you don't have the U.S.? Who are you going to get your energy from? Who are you going to get your energy from? Russia? Nord Stream? Who are you going to get your LNG from? Europe. Some people think Trump wouldn't go there, right? He wouldn't shut down the energy trade with Europe, would he? That would hurt U.S. business. No, Trump would do it. Trump would do it. If he had to play that game of chicken with Europe, he would do it. Absolutely. Because he knows that Europe would fold within a day because they have no options. They have no cards to play. What Europe should have done 6 months ago, if they had a good foreign policy team, the EU should have been in Moscow. Yeah, the war was over. Everyone understood that Russia was going to win this thing 6 months ago, 9 months ago, a year ago. It was clear to everyone that Russia was going to win this. They should have sent a team to Moscow and said, okay, June 2024. Agreed. Now let's talk about Nord Stream. Let's talk about energy, like what Hungary did, like what Siarto did, what Fico did, going to Moscow and securing their energy security. Right? They went to Moscow and they secured energy from Russia. It's in their best interest, and they have a great relationship with the United States. That's what Europe should have done. Now they're stuck. So you're going to halt trade with the United States. Really? You think a message like this is going to scare the U.S. or scare Trump? Have they not been following Trump over the past year? Have you not been following Trump over the past freaking year? You think that as Europe going to Trump and saying, okay, we're going to stop trade with you if you continue this whole Greenland thing, it's just going to make everything worse. So the EU's in a mess. Europe is in a mess, including the UK. They're in a complete mess. And there's protests in Greenland. There were protests in Greenland. There are protests in Denmark. You got to feel bad for the people of Greenland, the people of Greenland, because it's obvious that they don't want this. At least that's how it shows. The protests were large in Greenland. In the city of Nuuk, which has a population of about 20,000, the protest had about 4,000 people. That's significant. And they protested, I believe, outside of the U.S. consulate in Greenland. And basically their message was stop. We don't want any of this. From my understanding of things, people in Greenland, they want to become their own country. That's my understanding of Greenland. They don't want to become part of America, but they also want to break free from Denmark. That's my read of things. And now they're the ones that are stuck. So let's move on. Let's move on, but we'll stay with Ursula and with Europe. And Ursula was very happy because she signed the Mercosur deal, the Europe, Latin America, some countries in South America, Latin America, the trade deal. She's very happy that she finally got that one through. It's been a long, long time that they've been trying to put this deal together. European farmers are screwed, absolutely screwed with this deal. But Ursula was super happy about this deal because she's going to make BlackRock very happy, right? I mean, the European farmers are going to have an even harder time, and BlackRock's going to be right there to buy the land if they have to, because the farmers are going to get squeezed with this deal. So in Ukraine, we have the Russian military continuing to demolish whatever air defense systems are left in Ukraine. They hit a Patriot system in Kharkov. Kharkov is having a very hard time of things. They lost a Patriot system, a full system, from what I understand, got completely destroyed. The Russians located the system. They confirmed that it was the Patriot system. They located it. They confirmed it, and they completely demolished it. Those are the reports that we're getting. And this is bad news for Kharkov, which is already undergoing severe energy shortages and pretty much blackouts throughout most of the city. So things are looking really bad for Zelensky. He actually was on TikTok and Instagram. He put out his Instagram TikTok message, and he's begging for money and for weapons for air defense. There is no air defense. They've pretty much given him everything. And now that you're going to have a conflict between the United States and Iran coming up, I don't see Zelensky getting any U.S. Air defense systems anytime soon. And Europe is pretty much demilitarized. Tymoshenko, she appeared in court. Naboo's going after her. It's a big oligarch fight going on between Tymoshenko and Klitschko, Poroshenko, Zaluzhny, and Zelensky. They're all going at it to see who's going to be in the best position to possibly receive the final 90 billion from the European Union. They're all trying to figure out, how can I get in the best position to take perhaps what may be the last final big payday. And they're all fighting and they're all going after each other. And Tymoshenko appeared in front of the courts. They're going after her for corruption. And she called the Zelensky regime fascist. And she called for liberating Ukraine from it. Meanwhile, you have the defense minister of Italy addressing parliament and saying that Ukraine has lost. So you had Meloni a couple of days ago say that it's time to talk to the Russians, and now you have the defense minister of Italy, Mr. Crosetto, saying Ukraine cannot and will never win the war. Ukraine is trying to survive. It gets even worse, because the whole myth about building military facilities in Ukraine, well, that's crumbling. That whole narrative is also falling apart. Rheinmetall, that was supposed to build these these military facilities in Ukraine, right? They were going to produce all this artillery and stuff in Ukraine. Remember all of that? They signed all the contracts, and even the Rheinmetall CEO was in Ukraine talking it up. We're going to build big military facilities, and Ukraine is going to become the military hub of Europe. It's going to become the military production powerhouse of Europe, and they have so much to teach us, and we have so much to teach them. And the Europeans were high on their own supply, right? We're going to build all these military facilities in Ukraine, all kinds of military facilities right on the border with Russia, and there's nothing that Russia can do about it. Well, those military facilities are not going to be built. They haven't even started construction, according to media reports. Why Rheinmetall's artillery ammo plant in Ukraine still hasn't been built. Yeah, the Rheinmetall CEO was blaming all kinds of bureaucracy. He was putting it on paperwork and bureaucracy and stuff like that. That's why we haven't built a military facility in Ukraine. No, you haven't built a military facility in Ukraine because, you know, the minute you put that military facility up and running, it would be met by Mr. Oreshnik. You know it. That's why you're not going to build. You haven't started construction on that military facility, and you're never going to build a military facility in Ukraine, but you are going to keep the contracts, and you're just going to build the facilities somewhere else. If you even build the facilities, the money, the budget, the contracts you're going to keep. Whether you actually build a facility in Ukraine or outside Ukraine, it's not going to be built in Ukraine, but if you decide to build it outside Ukraine, that's a whole nother story. But the contracts and the money, you're going to keep, right? And the stock price increase, that's all good. Yeah, so that's what he said. It's all because of bureaucracy and red tape and budget stuff that we haven't started building this facility. Meanwhile, Rheinmetall has built a couple of ammo facilities I believe in Germany or in other parts of Europe or Czech Republic or something like that. So they have built some facilities, but the one in Ukraine, the big one, they haven't even started. So anyway, let's move on now to Syria, where we do have a war taking place in Syria. How did that regime change work out, huh? Regime changing Assad, putting in al-Nusra, al-Qaeda, al-Jalani, dressing him up in a nice suit, and everyone was cheering, right? Everyone was cheering. Democracy, peace, stability in Syria. Now you have a war now between al-Jalani and the SDF, the Kurds. I explained this about a week ago. So al-Jalani, al-Qaeda, al-Nusra, is sponsored by Turkey, the United States, and Israel. That's who props up al-Jalani. And the Kurds, the SDF, who they're fighting with, is propped up by Israel and the United States. So basically, what you have, if you remove Israel and the United States from both sides of the equation, what you have is Erdogan using al-Jalani to go after the Kurds, which is perfectly in line with Turkish foreign policy and with Erdogan's goals to get rid of the Kurds. And the Kurds, well, they depended on the United States. And the United States is nowhere. They got sold out. They got sold out, and now Erdogan's going to eat them up. Kurds never learn. They never learn. They were sponsored by the US and by the Lindsey Grahams of the world to cause all kinds of trouble for Assad. And now that Assad is gone, they're leaving them to the mercy of Erdogan. And Erdogan is rolling them up. The latest reports are that al-Jalani is rolling up the Kurds. Lindsey Graham said, "If Damascus takes military action against the Syrian Kurds and the SDF, I will do my best to reactivate the Caesar Act sanctions and make them even harsher. I will do my best," Lindsey Graham is saying. I'll do my best, according to Lindsey Graham, if Damascus rolls up the SDF, rolls up the Kurds. I'll do my best. Okay, Lindsay, you do your best. Erdogan's going to continue to push forward. So Trump was asked by Politico to comment on posts on X from Iran, from the Ayatollah Khamenei, who basically said that the United States was behind everything that was happening in Iran. All the protests and everything was basically engineered by the United States. That was the message from the Ayatollah, and Politico asked Trump to comment on these posts on X from the Ayatollah, and Trump got very upset as they read the posts out to him, and he said it's time to look for new leadership in Iran. He also said that leadership is about respect, not fear and death. So the media trying to get Trump back on course for regime change. Not that he's off course, but they didn't like, in the article, Politico makes it clear, they didn't like the fact that Trump was about to strike at Iran, and then he pulled back by saying that the executions have been halted, and so he pulled back, and then they read him the messages from the Ayatollah, and they wanted to get him back on course, right? They didn't like the fact that he pulled back. They wanted him to strike. They were very excited about Trump striking Iran, and so they read him those posts, and they got him all angry and riled up again. And before we get to a clown world, we also have the news that Trump is going to make countries, or he wants countries that are part of the peace board, the Gaza peace board, but it's more broad than that. If you're a country and you've been invited to take part in Trump's board of peace, or peace board, whatever he calls it, then you have to pay $1 billion. And it's much wider, much broader than just Gaza. So he sent these invitations to countries. For example, Argentina got one. I believe Hungary got one. And you're invited to take part in the peace board. But after, I believe you have to pay in $1 billion, and then after 3 years, you have to pay another $1 billion. Or if you want to become part of the peace board, then you have to pay $1 billion into it as well. And this has the United Nations freaking out, because the United Nations is thinking, wait a minute, this peace board, or this board of peace, is not limited to Gaza. It's actually being positioned as a replacement to the United States, with Trump as the chairman of the board, the chairman of the new United Nations. Each member state shall serve a term of no more than 3 years from this charter's entry into force, subject to renewal by the chairman. The 3-year membership term shall not apply to member states that contribute more than USD $1 billion in cash funds to the Board of Peace within the first year of the charter's entry into force. The board will be one of a kind. There has never been anything like it, Trump said in a copy of the invitation shared by Argentinian President Milei. According to media reports, other leaders invited to join include Turkish President Erdogan, Canada's Carney, and Lula. The charter makes no specific mention of Gaza, fueling speculation that Trump is seeking to create an alternative to the UN and extend its authority to other flashpoints. It describes the body as an international organization that seeks to promote stability, restore dependable and lawful governance, and secure enduring peace in areas affected or threatened by conflict. Yeah, it does sound like he's trying to create an alternative to the UN. Maybe he's trying to create an alternative to the UN and the BRICS. So you'll have the UN, you'll have BRICS, and then you'll have Trump's Board of Peace, or Peace Board, or whatever it's going to be called, with Trump as the chairman. But you need $1 billion. $1 billion is what you need. So let's do a clown world, and we'll wrap this video up. This has been a long video. Let's do a clown world, and we'll wrap it up. And this is courtesy of Medvedev. I'm just going to read you what Medvedev posted, and I think it sums up everything that is happening in the world. Medvedev said, number one, the US is preparing to attack Greenland, targeting the island itself rather than some vague Atlantic solidarity. Old Europeans will be punished with tariffs for defending NATO. 2, French officials have announced their withdrawal from NATO. 3, Timoshenko said that Ukraine has a fascist regime and that the country will survive no more than 5 years. 4, the president and prime minister of Moldova spoke in favor of dissolving their own country. 5, Trump will soon announce contact with aliens. At first, I thought this was just another absurd prediction, like the ones I made in 2022 to 2024. But no, these are the news of the past few days. The predictions are actually coming true. and there is a report floating around. I believe it originated from The Sun, but I'm not quite sure, saying that that Trump is going to make an alien announcement during his FIFA World Cup speech. He's going to announce that aliens do exist and that the United States has found them. And now the Bank of England is putting out messages that they need to prepare for some big crash or something like that. I don't even know. Let me see. One second. From the Sunday Times, Bank of England must plan for financial crisis sparked by aliens. Yeah, Medvedev's right. Things are just crazy, and we're not even finished with the first month of 2026. Anyway, I'm going to end this video there. The Duran.locals.com, the Duran on Substack. We are on Twitter, X, and Telegram, and the Duran shop, 26% off all merch. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.